most money-focused people on the planet are broke. Let that sink in. The guy who's working 60 hours a week at a job he hates, for a boss he doesn't respect, putting a fake smile on his face for 8 hours a day just to pay the bills. That guy is more money obsessed than any billionaire out there, because when money is all you're chasing, you will literally do anything for it, even trade your fucking soul. Here's what they don't tell you. Money is a byproduct. It's not the goal. I'm going to show you the difference between being money-driven and impact-driven. Prove to you why one path leads to burnout and resentment, and the other leads to wealth and legacy. Let's go. My name's Imtiaz, and I am impact-driven, not because it sounds cool to say on camera. It's because I learned the hard way that chasing money makes you a slave to it. And I've been there. I was there in my early 20s and my late 20s, in fact. I made good money, multiple six figures doing illegal stuff and also doing legit stuff. And I've never felt poorer when I was in those situations. And you're probably thinking, why? Six figures, multiple six figures is pretty good. Because I was doing work I couldn't give a fuck about for people I didn't really care about, in a way that made me feel empty. It felt cheap. And the moment I shifted to impact, to actually changing lives, building something that actually matters, creating legacy, money started to flow in again. Not because impact magically prints cash, but because when you are impact driven, you're willing to suffer for longer, work harder, and stay in the game when money-driven people normally quit and tap out. That's what we're going to be unpacking today. Before we get into anything, all the resources around this training and even more resources are in the description below. All you got to do is DM me the keyword in the description to my Instagram. The automation will fire off and it'll give you loads of free stuff. So make sure you go and do that. So the Matrix, you've all heard of the Matrix by now, okay? And it's an actual thing. And that's why most men are miserable. This isn't a comparison chart. This is a diagnostic tool, a 2x2 matrix that shows you exactly where you are and where you need to be. And here's how it works. You've got 4 quadrants. On this left-hand side, you've got whether you are winning or losing. And at the top, you've got whether you are money focused or impact focused. So in the bottom left, you've got somebody who is chasing money, but they're not getting any of it. They're trapped. This is where you're grinding your arse off, but you're broke. I'm not judging anyone. I've been there, okay? I've been selling drugs and I was really shit at it and I was making no money. I was getting myself in debt, okay? So don't think that I'm laughing at you or speaking down to it. We've all been there. And this is where, in fact, this is where we all start. Then we've got this top left quadrant, the hustler. This is where you made the money, but you feel empty. And I see this a lot with guys who are probably in their early 40s, late 30s. They've been chasing this career. And then they have that dreaded midlife crisis. And this is exactly why it happens. Now, on the right-hand side, where people are impact focused, but they're losing. So you've got no money, but you've got this passion. You've got this vision for what you want to create. This is where you are broke and passionate. And this is the dreamer. And it's okay to be there as well. And this is where I see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the early stages. People who've got good intentions, people who want to grow a business, but also help other people in the process. This is where they get stuck. They're not earning the money. They've got this vision and it's pretty horrible. And finally, you've got the icon. This is where you made it and you are fulfilled. This is the goal. This is the goal for everyone, and it should be for everyone, especially who's in business. So we'll break each section down. This is where most men are. People with 9-to-5s especially. People who are super money focused. People who are chasing money. Every decision is about what it pays and what pays the most right now. But you're losing, you're broke, you're frustrated, and you're stuck. This is where people are grinding 60 hours a week for a paycheck, chasing quick wins and shortcuts. There's no fulfillment despite all the effort. They're stressed, operating from desperation, and there's no legacy built. And the reason why you're here is you quit when money stops flowing and you build nothing that's going to last. It's all about quick wins, okay? Now, the trap is the more you chase money, the more it runs from you. You've heard that saying before, right? The next section, the dreamer. You're passionate about your mission. You do want to change lives, but you're broke. and you can't pay your bills, or you're struggling, you're just about getting by. Now, typically, the telltale signs are people who are screaming, I'm not in it for the money, people who are undercharging or working for free. Don't get me wrong, in the beginning, you will do that, but you can't keep doing that. I've seen people in business for years who are charging mates rates to people that they shouldn't be charging mates rates for. You're not running a fucking charity, okay? They have a great mission, but no strategy. They're high in purpose, but low in income, and they can't sustain it long term because you will break down and you will burn out. Now, the reason why you're here is you haven't learned how to monetize impact. An impact without income is a charity, not a business. Unfortunately, I know you guys mean well. Now, the trap is you'll burn out and you can't help anyone if you're broke. You can't pour from an empty cup. Next, we have got the hustler mindset, okay? People brag about being a hustler. I used to say I'm a hustler, okay? I know one day I was fucking pissed off and miserable, even though I had a couple $100,000 in cash in a shoebox under my bed. That's a story for another day. This is where you think you've made it. You're making money, good money, but you're empty inside. You're thinking, what next? It's a horrible place to be. This is where you got high income, but low fulfillment. You're chasing the next thing constantly. You're asking yourself, is this what it's about? Is that all there is to it? You feel like a fraud despite success. Your kids know your bank account, but not your values. I spoke to somebody yesterday, in fact, and he said to me that he'd built his business and his son's about 5 years old now. But he said to me, I've only got to know my son over the last year because he was that focused on the money side of things. And in terms of legacy, they believe their legacy is about how much they are going to own, the things that they are going to buy, the material stuff. Now, the reason why you are here, you optimize for money and you got it. That's the worst thing that happens to some people. But money alone doesn't mean fulfillment. The trap is you'll keep chasing money, hoping it fills a void. And trust me, it won't. And finally, we have the icon. This is where the top 1% live. This is what I'm striving and aspiring to be like. Making good money and you're fulfilled. You're building a legacy. Something that you are going to be remembered by. This means high income from high value creation for other people. Deep fulfillment from meaningful work. People's lives are changed because of you. There's a good reputation that outlasts you. Your kids are inspired by you as an example. And the legacy that you leave behind is, that guy or that gal changed my life. And when you receive messages like that, and I do receive them pretty often, it does something for me no amount of money could do. And I know it sounds airy-fairy, but take my word from it. Somebody who used to be driven by cars, jewelry, clothes, all that flash. When I get something like that, a message like that, it beats anything that I've ever owned. And the reason why you will live here eventually is because you optimize for impact. Money followed because value always gets rewarded. Always. Now the goal is, this is where you want to be. This is where you want to live. This is what you want to strive to become. So just to recap the matrix, you're chasing and you're broke when you're a trapped person. This is the worst position of all. Loads of effort, no results, no meaning. This is where everybody starts off. Then you have a decision. You either go this way or you go this way. Now, most people go this way, over here, where you're rich but empty. You won the wrong game. You've got all the money but none of the meaning, aka hustler. If you do decide to go this way, in the dreamer section, you're passionate but broke, it's unsustainable, and you can't help anyone long term if you're just trying to survive. And finally, we have icon. You're rich and fulfilled, you've won the right game, you've got money and meaning. Now, our aspiration should be to become an icon. And there's two ways of doing it. There's the long way, which I've taken, and there's the not so long way. Now, the long way is you go from trapped to hustler, you climb this mountain or this ladder, and when you get to the top of the ladder, you realize the ladder's against the wrong fucking building. so you have to come back down here, okay? And you start from scratch as a dreamer, and then you build up again. And that is exactly what's happened to me. Now, the other option is you can go from being trapped to becoming a dreamer, having a real vision for the world, actually wanting to impact people, and then becoming an icon. Choice is up to you. I know which one I would take if I had my time again. So here are 4 questions that are going to diagnose which quadrant you are in. Question number 1, what is the primary driver when making business decisions? If it is what pays the most, then you're on the left side. You're on the money side. If it is what creates the most value, you are on the impact side. Question number 2, are you currently winning or losing financially? If you're winning, up here, you've got comfortable income and you're growing. And if you're losing, you're struggling, stuck or broke, you're down here. So depending on those 2 questions, that puts you in one of these 4 quadrants. So I want you to decide what that is for you right now. Question number 3, if you are winning financially, are you fulfilled? If the answer is yes, fantastic. You're in that 1%, you're an icon. But if the answer is no, you are still in hustler mode. And finally, question number 4, if you stripped away all the money, would you still do what you're doing? If the answer is yes, you are impact driven over here. And the answer is no, you're over here. And I can definitely hand on heart say that I am impact driven. And the reason why, if I'm at a bus stop and there's an old lady there, I will try to coach her there and then. You can ask, I want you to vouch for me. Anybody who knows me personally, when you meet with me, I am not having bullshit chit chat about the weather. I actually find it weird. I find it difficult to do. It's not one of my strong suits. I want to talk about sorting you out, helping you out. I'm always there to serve people. And sometimes it actually goes against me. Sometimes people don't want the fucking advice. But it's something I do naturally. It's something that comes to me naturally because I want to see other people win. I get immense pleasure, I really do, from watching other people win. So I can hand on heart say I am impact driven. Now, if you are somebody who's on the left side and you're wise enough to understand that you don't want to learn the hard way by going from trap to hustler, and you want to flip over from money to impact, you need a bridge. You can't just wake up and decide to do it. There's actually a process of doing it, okay? So this is what the bridge looks like, the transition bridge. Phase number 1, you've got to shift your identity. You've got to define your mission statement. By the way, all of this is going to be below in one of the resources. Follow the instructions. There's a booklet there for you guys to use that will guide you through this process in a bit more detail. So number 1, define mission statement. Number 2, identify your impact metrics. So what I'm talking about here isn't money. How many people do you want to help? What sort of impact do you want to have on their life? To what extent? And also audit your current decisions. Are they all money focused about what you can make now, or are they impact focused? That's phase 1. Phase 2, priority realignment. The qualification filter. What process do you go through when making decisions? Number 2, the portfolio audit. So this is looking at your network, looking at your clients, and figuring out, okay, am I serving this person because it makes me money, or is it because it creates impact and it helps them? The reinvestment strategy. This is where you stop investing and upgrading lifestyle and you start to build infrastructure around what's going to allow you to create more impact. And phase 3, legacy building. Create your 10-year vision. Most people don't think as far as next month or next week. But what I found is, and I learned this when I went to Palestine, is like, we looked at why the powers that be that control the world, you know what I'm on about, yeah? I'm not going to say it on this. They think in centuries. And I thought, okay, there's something to be learned from that. Even though I don't agree with what they're doing, obviously, there's something to be learned from that. You need to think long term. This one's a difficult one, the content commitment. In order for you to have the impact that you want, and I see this with a lot of business owners, guys with a lot of money, they don't want to get on camera. I've sat in this studio here with people who are doing really well. And in my eyes, I'm thinking, bro, you're killing it. You're absolutely killing it. But they don't want to get on camera. They're dead nervous. You need to get over that barrier, because for you to create the impact that you want, that's further than yourself, that extends further than your own family, you need to put yourself out there. And we live in this day and age where we've got something like social media, which is phenomenal. It's wonderful when used well. So content creation. And finally, invest in a brotherhood. Get around people who are on the same journey, who are looking to create impact. It makes the journey more enjoyable and way more bearable. Now, here's a word of warning. This is how you don't want to do it. Don't try to keep one foot in both columns, okay? On both sides. The false narrative is, I'll be impact driven once I hit whatever money target that you've got in mind. Because that is complete bullshit. It's an excuse. You don't wait until you're rich to become impact driven. You become impact driven and wealth follows. That order is very important. Impact first, always. And these are the comparison shots or a comparison table of what your identity, your priorities, your filter, your investment, your fulfillment, your timeline, and your legacy is going to look like. When you're money focused, your identity is, I need money. Your priorities will be, is this going to pay? The filter for your decisions is paycheck size. The investments that you're going to make are into your lifestyle. Your fulfillment is going to come from your bank account. The timeline on which you're operating on is going to be next month, and you're not going to have any sort of legacy. However, when you are impact focused and driven, your identity is I create value. Your priority is all about your mission. Your filter when it comes to making decisions is, does this align with the mission? The way that you invest is going to be in infrastructure to get your message out there. The fulfillment that you experience is going to come from the lives that you've changed. The timeline extends to the decade, and your legacy, you will be remembered for the lives that you've impacted and changed. So you've got a choice. Are you going to spend your life chasing paychecks and money, buying status symbols, and dying forgotten? Because I think that's one of the biggest fears that men have. Not mattering in the end. Or are you going to build something that actually makes a difference? Something that changes lives. Something people remember. You can't do both. You can't be money focused and impact focused at once. One requires comfort and the other requires suffering. Choose wisely. And I want to add to that, you either suffer in the moment or you suffer on your deathbed. It really is as deep as that. So there you have it, the actual matrix. Not the tape version, the actual matrix. Look, if you're sick of being stuck in this hamster wheel where you're chasing money day after day, week after week, month after month, and there's no fulfillment in your life, I want to help you build that. And all I want you to do is go to the description, DM me the keyword in the description to my Instagram, and I'll fire over a link, give you some resources, get you onto the email list, be a part of a community that actually gives a fuck about creating impact. I'll catch you on the next one.